Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. I'm here to remind you of something so simple, yet so powerful. God's there for you. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, yeah, I've heard that before, but I'm talking about really hearing it and believing it with all your heart. See, sometimes we go through life feeling like we're alone, but let me tell you something. You're never alone. God's got your back every single step. He's walking with you. God is always present. Sometimes in life, it feels like we're walking through a storm, struggling with things that seem too heavy to carry. We face moments of pain, disappointment, and uncertainty that make us question whether anyone or anything is really with us. But let me remind you of something that's so simple yet profound. God is there. Whether you feel his presence or not, whether you're aware of it or not, he's always with you. In the quiet moments, in the chaos, in your highest highs and your deepest lows, God is right there beside you. There's a verse that says, "Where can I go from your spirit?" or "Where can I flee from your presence?" Psalm 139:7. The answer is simple. Nowhere. You can't outrun God. You can't escape his love. No matter how far you think you've strayed, no matter how deep you're into your struggle, God's presence is constant. He is not a distant figure waiting for you to reach out. He's a present help in times of trouble. It's easy to think that when life is tough, God is far away, but that couldn't be further from the truth. He's right there, walking with you, feeling every bit of what you're going through. Even when things seem silent and you feel like your prayers are unheard, God's presence hasn't left. He may not always show up in the ways we expect, but his presence is undeniable in the small, quiet moments and in the grand gestures of grace. God doesn't need a spotlight to make his presence known. He works behind the scenes in the things we don't even realize. He's there in the sunrise you wake up to, in the strength you find to take another step, in the friends who reach out just when you need them. These are the whispers of God's presence, reminding you that he's there. Think about this. God knows everything about you. He knows your thoughts, your struggles, your joys, your heartbreaks. And despite it all, he still chooses to be present. He's not there out of obligation, but out of love. He is ever present, not as a distant figure, but as a constant companion, walking with you every single day. When you face a challenge, don't look around for signs of his presence in the way you think it should appear. Instead, recognize that God is always present in the people, the moments, and the quiet peace that comes when you stop and breathe. His presence is like a lifeline that never disconnects, even when the waves of life feel overwhelming. Whether you're on a mountaintop or in the valley, he's right there beside you, guiding, comforting, and loving you through it all. So even when you feel overwhelmed, confused, or isolated, remember this: God's presence is unshakable and unmovable. He is always there, watching over you, protecting you, and loving you every step of the way. Trust the plan. Now, I know that sounds easy to say, but I'm here to tell you that it's something we all struggle with. We want control. We want things to happen when we want them, but sometimes life doesn't unfold the way we expect. In those moments of frustration, confusion, or disappointment, it's easy to forget that there's a bigger picture at play. We don't always understand why certain things happen or why we have to wait for the things we desire. But trust me when I say this: God has a plan for you, and it's better than anything you could ever imagine. You see, God doesn't just throw things at you randomly. He doesn't make mistakes. The road you're on, the experiences you're facing right now, they're all part of a plan that was set in motion long before you ever took your first breath. The path may not always make sense, but the plan is always perfect. Think of it like a puzzle. Sometimes you can't see how all the pieces fit together when you're looking at them up close. But when you step back, when you see the bigger picture, it becomes clear that every piece was necessary to create something beautiful. The thing is, we often want things to happen on our timeline. We pray for something, and when it doesn't come right away, we start to doubt. We wonder if we're doing something wrong or if we've somehow missed the mark. But I want you to remember something. God's timing is always perfect. even when it doesn't match our timeline. He sees the full picture. He knows what you need and when you need it. You might be in a season of waiting, and it's tough, but sometimes God's plan involves patience. Sometimes He's preparing you for something bigger, and you need time to grow, learn, and develop. If you got everything you wanted right when you asked for it, you might not be ready to handle it. The waiting season is a season of growth and preparation, even if it doesn't always feel like it. Think about the people who've gone through incredible struggles and challenges. Do you think they just got where they are by accident? No, they had to trust the process, even when it didn't make sense. Every setback, every heartache, every challenge was shaping them into the person they needed to become. Your journey is no different. It might be painful now, but the plan is leading you somewhere great. It's leading you to your purpose. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go your way, but don't let those moments shake your faith in the bigger picture. When you feel lost, remember that God is the ultimate navigator. His plan for you is far greater than anything you could ever imagine. You may be facing a setback, but remember that it's just a setup for a comeback. You might be walking through the fire, but that fire is refining you, strengthening you, and preparing you for the next chapter of your life. So even when life feels out of control or like everything is falling apart, know that God has already mapped out every step. You may not see the destination, but He does. He's got it all figured out, and all you have to do is trust the plan. Even when the road gets tough, even when you don't understand the detours, keep walking by faith. Your steps are ordered, and He's leading you to a place of peace, purpose, and prosperity. Stay faithful, trust the plan, and know that what's coming is worth the wait. You're never alone. Life can sometimes feel like an isolating experience, like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders with no one to share it with. Maybe you've had moments when you've felt misunderstood, overlooked, or even abandoned by those closest to you. Maybe you've walked through heartbreak, disappointment, or just the sheer weight of the everyday grind. And in those moments, you felt like you were facing it all by yourself. But here's the truth. You are never alone. You might not always feel it in a moment. It's easy to get caught up in the struggle and believe that the silence around you means you're on your own. But God's promise to you is clear. He will never leave you or forsake you. The very fact that you're still here, breathing, fighting, living, that's a testament to the fact that you have never been alone, even when it feels like you have been. Every step, every breath, every decision, He's right there holding you up. And sometimes we don't recognize God's presence because we're looking for it in big dramatic moments. But His presence is in the quiet, subtle things. The gentle breeze that calms your spirit, the phone call from a friend you didn't expect, or that still small voice that whispers in your heart when you need comfort. Even when others might walk away, even when they don't understand you, God's presence never wavers. He knows every part of you, every joy and every pain, and He still chooses to be with you. His love for you isn't conditional, based on your performance or your success. It's constant, unwavering, and eternal. The moments when you feel most alone are often the moments where He's closest, carrying you through when you don't even realize it. Think about the times in your life when you felt completely defeated, only to realize later that you were still moving forward. That wasn't by accident. That was God's unseen hand lifting you even when you couldn't see it. It's also important to remember that God doesn't just stand by passively watching from a distance. He's active in your life. He doesn't just observe your struggles. He is right there in the midst of them, walking with you, sometimes even carrying you when you feel you can't take another step. You're never alone in your pain, your worries, your dreams, or your doubts. He's there, and it's not a presence of mere observation, but one of deep love and care. We can't always understand why we go through certain things. Sometimes we wonder where God is when the world feels dark, but I promise you, He's there. He's there in your laughter. He's there in your tears. He's there when you feel weak, and He's there when you feel strong. You're never abandoned in the midst of your struggles, and you're never left to fight your battles alone. He is your constant companion, always by your side, whether you realize it or not. And let's be clear, being alone doesn't mean you're lonely. You can be surrounded by people and still feel isolated. You can be in a crowd and feel as though no one truly understands you. But in those moments, God is with you in a way that no human can be. His presence is far deeper than just physical proximity. It's a relationship that goes beyond anything you can see with your eyes. Think of it this way. If you've ever had a close friend, a confidant, someone who knew you inside and out, you know the power of their presence in your life. Now imagine someone who knows you even better, who sees your heart, your struggles, your aspirations, and loves you perfectly, unconditionally. That's the kind of presence God offers. It's not just about being in the same space. It's about being in tune with you in a way that no one else can be. So when life feels overwhelming or when you're walking through a valley that seems endless, remember this: you are never alone. God is with you always, in every moment, in every circumstance, whether you feel it or not. He's there, walking alongside you, loving you, strengthening you. And with him, you're never truly alone, because his presence fills the empty spaces and comforts your weary soul. God's timing is perfect. I know sometimes it feels like things should have happened yesterday, right? You've been working hard, praying hard, putting in the effort and waiting, and yet it feels like the breakthrough you're looking for is always just out of reach. It's in those moments that doubt creeps in, and it's easy to wonder, why isn't this happening for me? Why am I still waiting? The thing is, God's timing isn't just perfect, it's intentional. It's not a delay, it's preparation. It's not a mistake, it's a divine design. We often get frustrated because we want things on our own timeline. We want that promotion, that relationship, that change in our circumstances, and we want it now. But what we fail to realize is that God isn't just working on our request, he's working on us. The timing of things happening in your life isn't just about the end result. It's about shaping you to be the person who's ready to handle it when the moment arrives. You might think you're ready now, but God in his wisdom knows what's ahead and how to prepare you for it. Think about the story of a seed. A seed doesn't sprout immediately. It has to go through a process, being planted, watered, exposed to sunlight, and yes, sometimes enduring a bit of pressure. But that's how it grows into a strong tree. God is doing the same thing with you. He's nurturing your growth, even when it doesn't seem like anything's happening. His timing is like that of a gardener who knows exactly when to tend to the soil, when to water, and when to harvest. You might not see the growth right away, but you're growing nonetheless. You might be praying for something right now, and you may feel like God's not answering or like he's taking too long. But what if the delay is actually part of the plan? Think of the people in the Bible who had to wait for their promises. Take Joseph, for example. He was given a dream of greatness, yet he spent years in difficult circumstances, from being sold into slavery to being thrown into prison, but each step along the way was part of the perfect timing that would eventually position him to fulfill his purpose. Joseph's story reminds us that God's timing is never random, it's purposeful. It's not about when we think it should happen, but when God knows it's the right time for us to step into what we're meant for. We also have to remember that there's a bigger picture at play. We see a snapshot of our lives, but God sees the whole movie. He knows how all the pieces fit together, and he's got everything orchestrated perfectly. We might be seeing things as a setback, but he sees it as a setup for something bigger. Maybe you didn't get that job you applied for, or that relationship didn't work out, but God's timing might be protecting you from something you don't even know. It's hard to see in the moment, but trust that God knows what he's doing. What feels like a detour might actually be the path that leads you to the right opportunity at the right time. And remember, his timing isn't delayed, it's perfect. We can't rush perfection. Just like an artist takes their time to create a masterpiece, God is working on your life, shaping it, molding it, and perfecting it. There's no such thing as a mistake in God's timing. Every step, every pause, every delay, it's all part of his flawless design. Even when it seems like things aren't moving, he's moving you into position. What looks like waiting is often just a season of preparation. So instead of focusing on the time it's taking, shift your focus to what God is doing within you in the waiting. You're being shaped, strengthened, and refined. And when the moment does come, when that door finally opens, you'll be ready. You'll be ready to step into it with confidence, knowing that God's timing was perfect all along. What seemed like a delay will become the moment you've been waiting for. In the meantime, hold on to this truth. God's timing is always right. It may not align with your schedule, but it's perfectly aligned with your purpose. Trust that what's meant for you will come at the perfect time. Keep moving forward, keep believing, and trust that He's working everything out for your good. Strength in the struggle. Life has a way of testing us, doesn't it? It doesn't always feel like it, but every challenge, every hardship, and every obstacle you face is an opportunity for growth. In the middle of the struggle, it can be hard to see it that way. All you might see is the pain, the frustration, the uncertainty. It feels like life is pushing you down, and there's no way to get back up. But let me tell you, the struggle is where strength is born. It's easy to feel discouraged when things aren't going right, when you're facing opposition from every angle, when life seems to be pulling you in all directions. You want to throw in the towel, give up, and walk away from it all. But the truth is, the struggle doesn't break you, it builds you. The very things that seem to weigh you down are often the things that will make you stronger in the end. Think about the process of refining gold. The gold has to go through intense heat to purify it, to make it shine. If gold could speak, it would probably tell you that the fire wasn't easy, but it was necessary for its beauty and value to come out. And in the same way, your struggles are a form of refinement. They're making you stronger, more resilient, and more capable than you ever thought possible. It's in the struggle that you discover a strength you didn't know you had. When everything seems to be falling apart, that's when you realize the strength God has placed within you to endure. You've made it through every difficult moment up until this point, and you didn't even realize how strong you were. But now, in the midst of the struggle, you're starting to understand that there's something inside of you that doesn't give up, doesn't quit, and doesn't back down. That strength comes from within, from a deep place that can only be discovered when you're faced with adversity. The struggle also teaches you to lean on God. When you're in the trenches trying to figure out how to keep moving forward, that's when you realize that you can't do it all on your own. And that's okay, because in our weakness, God's strength is made perfect. When you feel like you're running on empty, when you don't think you have any more energy to fight, that's when God steps in and gives you the strength you need. He will never leave you or forsake you, especially in the midst of the struggle. The very thing that seems like a setback is often the moment where God is working behind the scenes to give you the strength to push through. And when you come out on the other side, you'll realize that the struggle didn't defeat you. It refined. In those moments, you may feel like you're not making progress. You may feel stuck, like the struggle is endless. But remember, the struggle is part of the journey. It's easy to look at other people's lives and think they have it all together. But the truth is, everyone has their own battles. Everyone faces struggles. They just look different for each person. The key is not to compare your struggle to someone else's, but to recognize that yours is unique to you. And because of that, your strength in that struggle is unique to you too. When you look back on your life, you'll realize that the struggles you faced were the things that made you who you are today. It wasn't the easy times, the smooth roads, or the perfect moments that defined you. It was the hardships, the moments when you felt like you couldn't go on, that shaped your character, your resilience, and your faith. The struggle is what teaches you how to stand tall, even when the world seems to be pulling you down. It's the struggle that reveals your true strength. So when you're in the middle of the fight, don't focus on how hard it is. Instead, focus on how far you've come and how much stronger you've become. Each day you get up and keep fighting is another day of strength being built inside of you. The struggle is part of the process that prepares you for what's ahead. Every challenge you face, every hurdle you overcome is getting you closer to the person you're meant to be. And in the end, the strength you find in the struggle will carry you through whatever comes next. You are stronger than you realize, and God is using every struggle to equip you for your future. Faith in the face of doubt. We all face moments when everything seems uncertain, when the future feels unclear, and when we wonder whether what we're hoping for will ever come to pass. It's in these moments when doubt creeps in and shakes us to our core that faith becomes not just important, but essential. It's easy to have faith when everything is going well, when life is smooth and the path ahead is clear. But true faith is forged in the fire, in the midst of uncertainty, when every circumstance is telling you to give up. That's when faith isn't just a belief, it becomes a choice, a decision to trust even when you don't have all the answers. Doubt is a natural part of the human experience. It's a feeling we all wrestle with at one point or another. It's the voice in your head that says, what if this doesn't work out? What if you fail? What if you're not good enough? It's the uncertainty that fills the space between where you are and where you hope to be. And in those moments, it can feel so heavy, so real, that it seems impossible to hold on to anything else. But here's the thing, doubt doesn't negate faith. It challenges it. And if you can keep moving forward, even with doubt in your heart, that's where your faith grows stronger. It's in those moments of doubt that faith shows its true power. Faith isn't the absence of doubt. It's choosing to move forward, even in the face of it. The Bible talks about faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This means that even when you don't see the results, even when your circumstances are screaming otherwise, faith keeps you anchored to the belief that something greater is on the way. It's choosing to believe in what God has promised, even when the evidence around you doesn't line up with that belief. It's about trusting in what you can't see because you know that God is working, even when it feels like nothing is happening. There's a powerful story in the Bible about a man named Thomas. He was one of Jesus's disciples, and after Jesus' resurrection, Thomas doubted that Jesus had truly risen from the dead. He said, unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were, I will not believe. He wanted proof. He needed to see it to believe it. And in that moment, Thomas was consumed by doubt. But what happened next is key. Jesus didn't condemn him for his doubt. Instead, he showed him the proof he needed, allowing Thomas to touch the wounds in his hands. And then Jesus said something profound. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Jesus was acknowledging that faith doesn't always come with visible evidence. Faith is choosing to believe in something even when you don't have the tangible proof in front of you. In your life, doubt may not always go away immediately. You may have moments of uncertainty, of questioning whether the promises you've been holding on to will ever come true. But the beauty of faith is that it doesn't require certainty, it requires trust. It's a trust that even in the midst of the unknown, you know that God is still working on your behalf, that he has a plan, and that he will see you through. Your doubt doesn't disqualify you from receiving God's promises. Faith is the bridge that takes you from doubt to victory, from uncertainty to hope. The key is not to allow doubt to stop you from moving forward. When you doubt, it's easy to freeze, to let fear take over, and to stay stuck in the place of uncertainty. But faith moves. Faith doesn't sit idle. Even when the answers aren't clear, faith takes a step. It doesn't wait for everything to fall into place. It moves in spite of the doubt. You might not have all the answers, but you have enough to keep going. Even when you can't see the road ahead, faith is the light that guides your feet, step by step. And here's another truth. In times of doubt, you're not alone. When you feel uncertain, when you're struggling with whether or not to believe, remember that God is right there with you, helping you, strengthening you. His promises are steadfast, and he is faithful even when you feel weak. When you can't find the strength to believe, he holds your faith. He understands your doubt and gently calls you back to trust in him. So when doubt knocks at your door, don't be discouraged. Know that it's okay to question, to wrestle, to wonder, but don't let it have the final word. Keep moving forward in faith, even if it feels small. Keep believing that God is with you and that he is working, even when you can't see it. Faith in the face of doubt is what anchors you in the storm, and it's what ultimately carries you through to the other side, stronger, wiser, and closer to the promise that God has for you. God doesn't make mistakes. I know that when life doesn't go as planned, when things seem to fall apart, or when you're faced with situations that leave you questioning everything, it can be hard to hold on to this truth. It's easy to think that maybe something went wrong, that maybe you're the one who messed up, or that things simply shouldn't have turned out the way they did. But the truth is, God doesn't make mistakes. He has a perfect plan for your life, and every moment, every challenge, and every victory is part of that plan. When things don't go the way we expect, or when we face challenges that seem impossible to overcome, it's tempting to believe that we've somehow missed the mark. We start asking ourselves, did I do something wrong? Is this my fault? But in reality, God is not surprised by your struggles. He knew long before you were even born what challenges you would face and what kind of person you would become because of them. He's not up there scrambling to fix mistakes or trying to figure out how to make up for some error. He is sovereign and all-knowing, and everything that happens in your life is woven into a beautiful, intricate plan designed for your growth, your purpose, and your future. Think about the way we as humans see mistakes. To us, a mistake is something that went wrong, something that was unplanned, an error or a misstep that disrupts the flow of things. But with God, there is no error. There are no mistakes in his plan. Every step you take, every challenge you face is part of his divine design. You might not understand it in the moment, but in hindsight, you'll often see how those mistakes were the very things that shaped you, refined you, and made you stronger. When you're going through a tough season, it's easy to feel like everything is falling apart and that nothing is making sense. But let me remind you, God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't let things happen for no reason. There's always a purpose, even in the most difficult situations. Sometimes it's through hardship that we learn the most valuable lessons. Lessons about perseverance, resilience, and trust in his time. And sometimes the greatest gifts come from the hardest experiences. What feels like a detour is often the very thing that leads you to your destiny. Think about a diamond. A diamond starts out as a rough, unpolished stone. It's only through heat, pressure, and a carefully orchestrated process that the diamond is transformed into the beautiful, sparkling gem we admire. The same is true for you. God allows pressure and challenges to mold you into something stronger, pure, and more beautiful than you could ever imagine. What seems like a mistake or what feels like a period of discomfort might just be the necessary process for God to refine you and make you shine brighter. Even in our imperfections, God sees something valuable. We might look at our past mistakes or regrets and see failure, but God looks at us and sees potential. He sees who we are becoming. Just because we don't have it all together, just because we feel like we've messed up, doesn't mean God's plan is off track. In fact, God uses those moments to show his power, his grace, and his ability to turn everything for good. What you think is a setback is often a setup for a greater purpose. Think about the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison for something he didn't do. It would have been so easy to think that God had forgotten him or that his life was just a string of mistakes. But Joseph's story teaches us that God doesn't make mistakes. What appeared to be a series of misfortunes was in reality part of God's perfect plan to elevate Joseph and use him to save many lives. The very things that seemed like mistakes were the things that led Joseph to his purpose. God took what others intended for harm and turned it into something greater. That's what he does. He takes our messes and makes them messages, takes our failures and turns them into future victories. The bottom line is that God is not a God of accidents. There's no such thing as coincidence in his world. You might feel like you've gone down the wrong path or made a mistake, but God knew exactly where you were headed, and he was with you every step of the way, guiding you, teaching you, and preparing you for what comes next. He is the master of turning broken pieces into something beautiful, of creating good from bad, of turning setbacks into comebacks. So whenever you find yourself questioning the direction of your life, when you look at the past and feel like it's full of mistakes, remember this: God doesn't make mistakes. You're exactly where you need to be, and he's using every part of your journey, every twist and turn, to shape you into the person you were meant to become. Even in the midst of uncertainty, trust that his plan is perfect, and he's leading you exactly where you need to go. You have purpose. It doesn't always feel like it, does it? Sometimes life feels like you're just going through the motions, dealing with the everyday struggles, and trying to make it through each day. The noise of the world around you, the pressure to succeed, and the constant comparison to others can make it easy to forget that you were created for something special. But you have purpose, and it's a purpose that's uniquely yours, designed specifically for you, long before you even took your first breath. When we think of purpose, we often think of big, monumental things. We think of someone who's changing the world, someone who's doing extraordinary things. And while some people's purpose may be to be in the spotlight or to lead something huge, that's not the measure of purpose. Purpose is about fulfilling the plan God has for your life, wherever you are in whatever season you're in. You don't have to be famous, wealthy, or powerful to have purpose. Your purpose is tied to your identity, and that identity is grounded in the fact that God made you intentionally with a plan, a mission, and a destiny. There are times when you might look at your life and wonder, what's the point of all this? What am I really doing here? You might feel like you're just another face in the crowd, like you don't have the talents or the qualifications to make a significant impact. But the truth is, your purpose is not based on your abilities or what the world says you should do. It's about who you are and the unique gifts and experiences God has given you to make a difference in your own way. There's no one else like you, and that's by divine design. You were crafted with specific strengths, passions, and desires that align with the unique role you are meant to play in the world. Think about the people around you, your family, your friends, your community. Your purpose might be to influence them in ways you can't even imagine. Small actions can have a profound impact. It could be offering a listening ear to someone who feels unheard, or showing kindness to someone who needs a little hope. Sometimes your purpose is revealed in the quiet moments, in the way you treat others, or in the way you live your life with integrity and love. You don't have to do something grand to fulfill your purpose. You simply need to show up as the person God created you to be. Your purpose might also evolve over time. Maybe you feel like you haven't figured it out yet, or maybe you're going through a season of transition where things feel uncertain. But even in that uncertainty, your purpose is still there. It's just unfolding in the right time. Just because you don't have all the answers right now doesn't mean you're not on the path to something incredible. Life is not a straight line, and sometimes it's through the twists and turns that we discover new aspects of our purpose. As long as you keep moving forward, trusting that God is guiding you, you are walking in the purpose He has set for you, even if it doesn't look like what you imagine. One of the most powerful reminders of your purpose is the truth that God doesn't create anything without a reason. You are not an accident. Your life has meaning, and every moment, every struggle, and every victory is part of that larger story. The Bible tells us that God has plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future, even in your darkest moments. When it feels like everything is falling apart, God is still working out His plan for your life. What may feel like an interruption, a detour, or even a setback is often part of the journey to fulfilling your purpose. Every challenge you face, every lesson you learn is preparing you for what's ahead. Sometimes we look for purpose in the wrong places. We chase after titles, positions, or external achievements, thinking that those things will give us meaning. But true purpose comes when we align ourselves with what God has created us for, whether that's being a loving parent, a supportive friend, a dedicated teacher, or simply being someone who shows kindness in the world. Purpose isn't about what the world can give you. It's about what you give to the world. It's about living out your faith, your values, and your unique talents in a way that reflects God's love and brings light to the world. You might not always see it clearly right now, but every step you take, every choice you make is part of your purpose unfolding. You're not wandering aimlessly through life. Even the seasons where you feel lost or uncertain are moments where God is preparing you for something greater. Don't be discouraged if you don't have all the answers. Trust that God is leading you and that every experience you go through, every challenge, every triumph is contributing to the greater purpose He has for you. And don't let anyone tell you your purpose isn't valuable. You matter. You are significant. No matter how small or large your role might seem, it's valuable. You are uniquely equipped to bring something into the world that no one else can. Your voice, your presence, your love, these things are irreplaceable and they make an impact. The world needs what you have to offer. The people around you need your light. And the more you lean into your purpose, the more you'll discover the power of what you were truly created for. So when you question your purpose, remember this: you have it. It's in the way you live, the way you love, the way you serve others. Your purpose is not something you need to go out and find. It's already within you. Trust that God is leading you, guiding you, and that in every season, He's revealing more of who you're meant to be and the incredible impact you're meant to have. You have purpose, and that purpose is unfolding piece by piece in the most beautiful and unique way. Don't lose hope. There are moments in life when it feels like everything is crumbling around you, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to carry, and when it seems like the promise of a brighter future is slipping further and further away. In those moments, it's easy to let despair take over, to believe that things will never get better, that the struggle is never ending, and that you're all alone in the fight. But I want to remind you of this. Hope is not just a feeling, it's a choice. And no matter what you're going through, you have the power to choose hope. It's important to remember that hope is not the absence of difficulty or pain. Hope is not about pretending everything is fine when it's not. Hope is about believing, even when you can't see the way forward, that there is still something good coming, that God is still in control, and that His promises are true. When life seems uncertain and you don't know how things will turn out, that's when hope becomes your anchor. Hope is what holds you steady when the storm rages around you. We all face seasons of doubt, pain, and frustration. We all have times when the road ahead looks dark, when our dreams seem out of reach, or when it feels like we've been fighting for so long and nothing is changing. But it's in those moments that you need to hold on to hope more than ever. Hope is the strength to keep going, even when you don't feel like you can take another step. It's what pushes you to wake up every day, even when you feel like giving up. It's what makes you believe that the future will be better, even when the present feels hopeless. Think about the story of someone waiting for something they've been praying for. Maybe they've been waiting for healing, for breakthrough, or for their situation to change. It's easy to feel like God isn't listening, like He's not answering. But the truth is, God's timing is different from ours, and He sees the bigger picture. Sometimes hope is the willingness to wait, to trust that God is working behind the scenes, even when you don't see it yet. It's about trusting that God's promises are true, even if it takes time for them to come to fruition. Hope is also about perspective. When life doesn't go as planned, it's easy to get stuck in the negativity, to focus only on what's wrong and what's not working. But hope allows you to shift your perspective, to see the possibility in the midst of the pain. Hope helps you focus on what you can change and what you can control, rather than getting overwhelmed by what's outside your grasp. Hope doesn't deny the reality of your situation. It simply helps you see that your situation doesn't have the final say. No matter how bleak things seem, your story is not over yet. Hope reminds you that God is still writing your story, and He is always at work, even when you can't see it. I know it's not always easy to hold on to hope when you're tired, when you've been through trial after trial, when the journey feels long and exhausting. It can feel like hope is slipping through your fingers, but hope isn't something you have to hold on to with your own strength. In times when you feel weak, when you don't have the energy to keep going, God's strength is there to carry you. He promises that He is close to the brokenhearted, that He is near in the times when we need Him the most. When you're struggling to hold on, remember that God is holding on to you. The power of hope is also in the people around you. Sometimes when it feels impossible to believe that things will get better, the hope of others can be a lifeline. It might be a friend who believes in you when you can't believe in yourself. It could be a family member who encourages you to keep going even when you want to quit. Hope is contagious, and sometimes the hope of others can ignite a spark in you to keep moving forward, even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. Don't be afraid to lean on others when you need to. You don't have to carry the burden alone. I want to remind you that hope is not just about wishing for something to change. It's about choosing to believe that change is possible. When you choose hope, you're making a decision to trust that things can get better, that God is still at work, even when you can't see the evidence. Hope opens the door to possibility. It opens the door to seeing a future beyond the pain of today. Hope allows you to dream again, even when your dreams feel shattered. And hope isn't just about the future. It's about the present moment too. Even if you don't know how things are going to work out, there is hope in knowing that God is with you every step of the way. He's walking with you in the pain, in the waiting, in the unknown. You are not alone in your struggle. Even when it feels like you're walking through the valley, you're not walking alone. God is by your side, and He is walking with you through every difficult moment. That knowledge alone can give you hope, because God doesn't abandon His children. He is right there sustaining you, giving you the strength to keep going, even when you don't feel strong. So don't lose hope. Don't let the discouragement of today rob you of the promise of tomorrow. Hold on to hope even when it feels like you're at the end of your rope. Keep trusting, keep believing, keep moving forward, because hope is what will carry you through. And even in the darkest of times, remember this: your hope is never in vain. God is faithful, and He will bring you through this just like He's brought you through everything else. The best is yet to come. Celebrate the journey. Life is not just about the destination, the end goal, or the moments when everything finally falls into place. It's about the steps you take to get there, the everyday experiences, the ups and downs, the challenges and the victories. So often we get fixated on the end result, on the finish line, thinking that once we reach a certain point, everything will make sense and we'll finally be happy. But the truth is, life isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about embracing the journey along the way. The journey is where the growth happens. When you're on a path towards something, whether it's a career goal, a personal dream, or a place of healing, you'll encounter challenges. You'll face moments of uncertainty, doubt, and frustration. But it's through those very challenges that you learn the most about yourself. It's in those moments that your character is shaped, your perseverance is tested, experiences that shape you. Sometimes we're so focused on what's ahead that we miss the beauty in the present. Every day you're becoming who you're meant to be. Every interaction, every challenge, every lesson is a part of your unique story. Celebrate the little things that make up the bigger picture. When you take time to appreciate where you are right now, you'll find that you're living in the fullness of the journey rather than rushing through it. In the pursuit of your goals, don't forget to enjoy the ride. It's easy to get caught up in the pressures of life, deadlines, responsibilities, and expectations. You may feel like you're constantly racing to the next milestone, thinking that once you get there, things will be perfect. But if you always focus on the next step, you might miss out on the precious moments that make up today. Sometimes the best memories are made in the in-between moments, when you least expect them. It could be a conversation with a friend, a quiet moment of reflection, or a simple act of kindness. Celebrate those moments, because they are part of the story that will one day remind you of how far you've come. The journey also teaches us the importance of patience. We live in a world that demands instant gratification, where everything feels like it should happen right now. But growth, real change, and lasting success take time. When you allow yourself to enjoy the journey, you're giving yourself the gift of patience. You're learning to trust the timing of things, knowing that every season has its purpose and that everything unfolds exactly as it should. The road may not always be easy, but it's the process that teaches you how to handle the destination when you arrive. Another important part of the journey is the people you meet along the way. Life isn't meant to be lived in isolation. It's the relationships, the connections, and the moments you share with others that make the journey even more meaningful. The people you meet on your path can offer wisdom, encouragement, and support when you need it most. They can challenge you, help you grow, and celebrate with you when you reach your milestones. Celebrate the people who walk with you, because their presence is a reminder that you are never truly alone on this journey. As you journey through life, you'll also experience moments of reflection. There will be times when you pause and look back at how far you've come. It's easy to forget how much you've already accomplished, especially when you're always looking ahead to the next thing. But it's important to take a step back and acknowledge your growth. Celebrate how far you've come, even if the journey feels incomplete. You've overcome obstacles, learned valuable lessons, and persevered through difficult moments. Take pride in your journey, because every part of it has contributed to who you are today. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to simply appreciate where you are right now, instead of always thinking about what's next or what you haven't yet achieved. Celebrate the present moment. Enjoy the beauty of the now, because it's all part of the journey. Life doesn't wait for the perfect moment to begin, and neither should you. Find joy in where you are and take pride in the person you are becoming. Each step you take, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. So, as you move through life, remember to celebrate the journey. Celebrate the challenges and the triumphs, the setbacks and the breakthroughs. Embrace the process, the growth, and the people you meet along the way. Because it's not just about getting to the destination. It's about enjoying every step, learning from each experience, and becoming the person you're meant to be. As you continue on your journey, remember that every step, every challenge, and every victory matters. The path you're walking is uniquely yours, and it's unfolding exactly as it's meant to. So don't rush to the finish line. Celebrate the moments, the people, and the lessons along the way, because that's where true growth and fulfillment happen. Keep going, keep learning, and most importantly, keep celebrating the journey, because this journey is yours, and it's something to be cherished every step of the way. Keep your head high, your heart full of hope, and remember that you are exactly where you need to be. Enjoy the ride, because the best is yet to come.